What is going on, guys? UFC Noche going down this weekend, guys. We got a massive fight in the featherweight division. Former title challenger Diego Lopes taking on the fighting nerd himself, Long John Silvers. Guys, we're going to break down this fight a little bit, okay? I want to talk about this fight specifically. We're not going to break down the entire card because I'm going to be real. UFC Noche is supposed to be a big event. It was a massive event last year with the Sphere. Now it's a joke. Okay, we originally had Rob Font versus Raul Rosas in the co-main event. I get it's a fight night, but it's supposed to be a semi-big event for the UFC, and this card is so buns, but it does have a good main event, so we're just going to talk about the main event. Let's go ahead and get into it, all right? All right, guys, here we go. Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva, okay? Like I said earlier, Diego Lopes, his most recent fight was for the title against Alexander Volkanovski. He did fine, okay? But I do want to point out one thing. I feel like a lot of people are picking Diego Lopes for the wrong reasons, and we'll get into that later as well. But I feel like people have a misconception about how the fight between Volkanovski and Diego Lopes actually went. Yes, it was a great fight. People are talking about it like it was fight of the year. I disagree there, simply because when I was watching it, obviously, we picked Volkanovski by decision. Of course we did. But anyway, Volkanovski, correct me if I'm wrong, but I honestly feel like Volkanovski was in control of the fight for about 90% of the fight, right? Was it this back and forth fight like everybody keeps talking about it as? I don't think so. I think Diego Lopes had his moments. Yes, he did. He hurt Volkanovski, but outside of a couple moments in the fight, Volkanovski was winning the rest of it, okay? It was a competitive fight, but it wasn't particularly like razor thin like people remember it, okay? I just want to throw that out there to start us off, all right? Now, Diego Lopes has more UFC experience than Jean Silva. Honestly, not even by much. Both guys are fairly new to the UFC, actually very new to the UFC. But let's look at this fight, okay? Both Brazilians fighting on a Mexican card. Great. But anyway, Diego Lopes is going to have a 4-inch height advantage along with a 3.5 reach advantage, okay? I'm picking Jean Silva to win this fight, and I'm confidently picking Jean Silva to win this fight. I'm seeing creators on this app, I'm seeing creators on YouTube, on TikTok, picking Diego Lopes, which that's fine. I'm not calling you a casual if you get a fight pick wrong, but here's the thing. I'm not seeing any valid reasoning as to why people are picking Diego Lopes. All that I'm seeing, all that I'm hearing is I'm picking Diego Lopes because people are underrating him, bro. He just went to war with Volkanovski, and now people are picking Jean Silva to beat him, bro. Jean Silva's a bigger favorite than Volk was. That's the only reason I'm seeing, okay? I hate that. I absolutely hate that argument, guys. People fall into this trap all the time. I've fallen into this trap before. Just because you think somebody's underrated does not mean you have to pick them to win a fight just because you're trying to get this point across, bro. It doesn't always work like that. But I'm going with Long John Silva because to sum it up for you, we'll go into further detail, but to sum it all up for you, I think Jean Silva is a much better striker than Diego Lopes. And I think that this fight will mostly, if not all of it, play out strictly on the feet, okay? Anybody picking Diego Lopes, either you're picking him to land a lucky, let's be real, a lucky right hand in the pocket and knock out Silva. Maybe a lucky submission, but Jean Silva has showcased phenomenal takedown defense against, yes, he's had his test against a legit grappler. This is not Mauricio Rufy, okay? Yes, I may or may not have picked Rufy to beat Benoit Saint-Denis. Let's not act like we all did not pick that. But this is not the same scenario because, first of all, Diego Lopes is a phenomenal grappler. Don't get me wrong, dangerous submission threat. He's not the same level of grappler as a Benoit Saint-Denis. And I'll even go further on that point to say that Mauricio Rufy had not fought or had not been tested at the UFC level against a legit grappler. Jean Silva has, and he aced the test. Bryce Mitchell is a great grappler. You're going to say, oh, bro, that's Bryce Mitchell. Diego Lopes beats Bryce Mitchell too. I agree with that. But Jean Silva not only has already been tested against a great grappler in the sport, but he aced it. He stuffed all the takedowns besides one when he pulled guillotine, ended up on his back. What happened then? Was Bryce Mitchell just holding him down or advancing position? No. Once Jean Silva bailed on the guillotine, he stood right back up to his feet. So now that we know that Jean Silva has brick wall takedown defense, and also Diego Lopes is an underrated wrestler, I will say, but he comes from a jiu-jitsu background. I don't think he's going to just be able to take down Jean Silva at will. Maybe he gets one takedown, even if he happens to get Silva down to the ground. Let's not act like Silva's just a duck in lava, guys, okay? He's not just in no man's land. And let's also not act like Diego Lopes is, just has this smothering top pressure, like Cousin Gamrot, man. I had to throw Gamrot in there. That's just not the case, bro. First of all, I don't see this fight going to the ground. I think Lopes will shoot some takedowns. I think Silva will stuff him. Guys, I just do not see a world. I'm not going to say I don't see a world where Diego wins, but I think Diego's best route to win this fight is legitimately for Jean Silva to gas out. Because we have not seen him tested in a 5-round fight before. We've seen Diego in a 5-round fight against Volk. But at the same time, we've also seen Diego Lopes sort of gas out before against Dan Ige. I understand the circumstances were a lot different. But yeah, guys, this is the thing, okay? So we know that Silva is probably going to hold true with his takedown defense. Lopes is going to have a very difficult time taking Silva down. I feel like we should all agree on that. So let's look at the other aspects of mixed martial arts. In the striking department, Jean Silva is an elite striker. I think he might even be the best striker in the division. If you don't agree with me, we'll find out Saturday night, guys. Sound like Max Holloway. Diego Lopes, I get he has the reach advantage. Is Diego Lopes the type of guy to hold you at range, pop you with the jab, and, get super technical on you? No, he's not. We know that. Anybody saying that Diego Lopes is this super technical kickboxer, he's not. Okay, he's got a couple calf kicks, and he likes to blitz and get in the pocket, get in your face. Jean Silva is beautiful at maintaining range and distance, right? Jean Silva has a great jab. He's very, very powerful. I understand Lopes is powerful as well, guys. We're going to see the discrepancy on the feet in terms of skill, and I don't think it's going to be close, okay? Diego Lopes, I understand Volkanovski is an elite striker as well. Diego Lopes had nothing for him. Outside of a couple moments, he had nothing for Volkanovski on the feet. He was getting tagged up, right? That's correct, okay? Jean Silva, another elite striker. At this point in his career, I would pick him to outstrike Volk in a fight now, in the sense that I would pick him to knock out Volkanovski. Prime for prime, I'm picking Volkanovski, obviously, but I think Jean Silva is maybe even on par with the striking of Volkanovski right now. Yes, current day Volkanovski. But not only that, he has a massive power advantage over Volkanovski as well. So now that we know this, now that we're breaking it down, since Silva's gonna not let this fight be taken to the mat, he's gonna deny the takedowns. This fight's gonna mostly be standing, and Jean Silva's a much better striker, and he's also very, very powerful and dangerous. What are we picking Diego for? And look, I would absolutely love Diego Lopes to prove me wrong, guys. I saw that Diego Lopes has the mullet and the mustache combination. It almost convinced me. I'm not going to lie, it almost convinced me. But to me, again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I will proudly say that. I don't know if I don't feel confident that Diego Lopes wins this at all. In fact, I feel very confident that Jean Silva is just a better fighter than Diego Lopes. No matter where the fight goes. I know he's not as dangerous on the ground as Diego, but I don't even think this fight goes to the ground. Maybe there's one takedown in a 5-round fight. So yes, guys, another advantage Diego might have is the durability. Just because we have not seen Silva really be tested on his chin in the UFC, Diego Lopes has. He's been hit with some bombs. He's a very durable fighter, granite chin. Maybe Diego Lopes can outlast him and ultimately outdog Jean Silva. I think that's his best path, bro. Because Diego Lopes, look, he has found a lot of his success by the blitz, the pressure, going in with his crazy punches, right? Yes. If you do that on a skilled and powerful striker like Jean Silva, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught with a clean counter and maybe put out, bro. Jean Silva's going to drop Diego Lopes in this fight. I'm telling you guys, I hate to say this because I am a Diego Lopes fan. I was one of the first people on the Diego Lopes hype train, let me remind you. I just don't think he's good enough to beat Jean Silva. And this does not speak to that I think, this is not saying that I think Diego Lopes is overrated or he's not good. This speaks to how good I think Jean Silva really is. He's a future champion for a reason, guys. I'm picking Jean Silva, not even to finish this fight. I think he will beat up Diego Lopes on the feet. I think Diego Lopes is going to be showing some crazy damage on his face, maybe a swollen eye. I don't know, man. He's going to be wearing the damage on his face. I think Diego Lopes is durable enough. I think he has that dog in him. He has that heart enough to survive this fight, but I don't think it's going to be close. I'm going with Jean Silva by decision. I'll go 49-46. I could honestly, guys, I hate to say this again. I would love. I want to stress this. I would love for Diego Lopes to prove me wrong. But I could see a world where Jean Silva even has a 10-8 round just from styling on Diego Lopes. I'm not going to pick that. I'm going to say Diego Lopes takes round 5. I'm going to say Jean Silva's up 4-0. Diego Lopes takes round 5 because Silva starts to slow down. People start saying, oh, we're going to see comments and social media posts after the fight. Oh, if Diego Lopes has one more round, bro, he would have finished the fight. I'm picking Jean Silva by decision. He obviously could knock him out. I'm trusting in the durability of Lopes. I understand Silva has power, guys. I understand Lopes has power. I think this fight's honestly going the distance. So, yes, guys, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Jean Silva is going to look great. I think Diego Lopes will have some moments as he does. But I think Jean Silva is going to be clearly the better fighter, especially on the feet. I think Lopes will end up shooting multiple takedowns, maybe up against the cage, and I think Jean Silva is going to stuff him. Maybe Diego does get a trip. Maybe he gets him down. Maybe even gets up on his back up against the cage. I think Jean Silva is going to stay out of trouble, get back up to his feet, and go back to work. But as an avid Volkanovski supporter, okay? Sounded like that was controversial the way I worded that. But I'm hoping this fight does go all 5 rounds. I'm hoping it's a war. I'll say that. I'm hoping it's a war. And I'm hoping that Volkanovski can fight either Movsar or Lerone Murphy in December. And then Jean Silva can fight the winner after that, guys. I just want to hold on to this precious time that we have as Volkanovski is champion again. Maybe he beats Lerone. Maybe he beats Evloev and then retires. I'm just terrified of a Silva versus Volk matchup, guys. I'm terrified, especially if Silva aces this test against Diego. I'm terrified that he's going to ace his test against Volkanovski. But anyway, we're not there yet, guys. We got a long way to go. I'm picking Jean Silva by decision, guys. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, guys. I'm feeling confident about this pick. Again, I know I've said this a million times. I absolutely hope that Diego Lopes proves me wrong. I'm rooting for Diego Lopes in this fight. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Comment something for the algorithm. Hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button. Turn the post notifications on. We're going to be live streaming for this fight for UFC Noche. We're going to be doing a fight companion, guys. So hit the bell. Turn the post notifications on so you do not miss it. I appreciate y'all once again. And we out.